All right. Welcome to the Bartenders Anonymous podcast, episode 6, I believe this is. And I just spent like an hour and a half trying to set up one of those cool arms, that Joe Rogan and everybody has, so that I don't have to hold my microphone. And you know what I'm doing? I'm holding my fucking microphone. I got all these parts and stuff, but I've got drunk and messed with studio equipment so many times that it's all just kind of fucked up. And yeah, so it's so much easier to just hold the microphone. I do have this one little thing that I can set it on, but I don't know if that's going to work. There, it's on the little thing. But then I still got to lean all the way up to it like a friggin' idiot. So it's easier to just hold it. So I'm just going to hold it. All right, episode 6. Life is still a mess. My birthday is tomorrow. I don't particularly care. I would like to fast forward past it. And I wish it was just like Tuesday. I like Tuesdays now, where there's just nothing going on. Nobody's calling me or bugging me, except for maybe to go golf. And then I would probably be like, all right. But other than that, I can just be left alone and not be like, well, what do you want to do this weekend? So, yeah, I feel the hermit crab vibes right now. But that's not how life works, because, it's your birthday. You got to do something for your birthday. I did meet with my lawyer today and sign some paperwork, so I'm going to go in on Monday and start tell the judge that I'm doing diversion, and then I'll find out if I can, if I'll be allowed to apply at bars, which, I don't necessarily want to get a job. I know I've said that before, but I would like the option to apply at bars if I do want to go start making some scratch and not have to go be like a caregiver or something, or a Walmart cashier. I would never apply for that job, actually. I'd go work at a coffee shop before I worked at Walmart. Nevertheless, I'm trying to keep my options as open as possible. And yeah, this week was actually a bit of a shit show, as boring as my last week was. And then this week I feel like I did too much. I went kind of ham. And there was I was in a good zone of just being kind of a bum, being a boring old man. And the girlfriend was out at a friend's house, and she kind of brought the party home. And before you know it, it's just boxes of White Claws, and I'm eating pouches and wake up with that White Claw hangover. Ugh, it's terrible. So this week was kind of my last hurrah before it's like, okay, I'm going to have to start getting into the classes, quit fucking around. And yeah, so I did a little too much there. Did the freaking White Claws that night. Then the next day, girlfriend's hungover. She's passed out for the day. And I go to lunch with my buddy Chance. Have a couple beers. And, yeah. End up going out to the bars. And, doing stupid me things. So I went and got that out of my system. Had a pretty weird night, which I'm not even going to get into that much. Nothing happened. Nothing, there's no blood or anything, but just some, yeah, I don't even know. I shouldn't even brought it up. Basically, I just went out and got hammered and shit, eventually it's like, all right, time to just go home and pass out. So I did that, and then the next day I'm kind of hungover and decided it was a good time to go out and do some networking. So I went down to the Kong Hong, and I had a beer, kind of started playing some pool by myself like a weirdo, and I striked up a conversation with the owner lady, and she's super nice, and she was like all, telling me how they get by and stuff, and it's like she tells me it's pretty simple once you start doing it, just the ordering, and her husband cooks and she bartends, and then they trade off or go take breaks or whatever. And I think I was chatting her up for too long, because eventually her husband came out and was just like staring at me, and then it just got super awkward, and She was like, okay, I go break now. And I was like, all right, can I get another Heineken? I'm gonna go over here and be weird by myself. But I found out that the property is like $1.4 million or something like that. So yeah, not very realistic, but it was still fun to talk about it, and because she knows it's got potential with the stage and all that and whatever. But before I could divulge my master plan of doing open mic comedy at her establishment, then her husband came out and it got weird, and so I was like, okay, we're gonna call that a good meeting and wrap it up for the day. And I fucked off. So I had another beer there and I got the hell out of there. And then I went down to this tap house down the way, get some food and some whiskey Red Bull. That's the good hangover cure. And he was like, I can't remember what he said the occasion was. I think it was because he goes, it's Tuesday. You want a double? It's like, yes, I do want a double. And I started chatting with one of the dudes there because they're like, it's two dudes that look very similar. And I was like, oh, so you guys are like brothers or something and you like run the place together? And not the case at all, but that's what everybody asks them. And I talked to the dude that's more like the cook of the place and the more kind of back of house stuff. And so he was kind of telling me about how it all works, and that the owner dude, like between him and his wife, he's like the personality of the place. He's very likable and kind of like, I don't know if he found like investors or what, or I don't know. It was very interesting to talk to him, and he kind of told me about it and how it works, and it was interesting. But after I have my double proper 12 and Red Bull, and then they like gave me a free beer. That they were like, "Does this taste weird?" And I was like, "No, I mean it tastes all right." And he's like, "Oh, I have a free beer," and so I'm like, but then at this point had my 2 beers at the Kong Hong, and then the double whiskey, and then this free beer, all kind of on an empty stomach, and I'm like, all right, I need to order some chicken sandwich and get the fuck out of here, because I'm starting to, I wasn't like getting weird, but I was like, I'm definitely feeling it, and I need to get the hell out of public. So it was good to go out and do some kind of, not even really networking, but just get some information from people and ask some questions that I'd been bouncing around in my head, and I like, and my phone died, and I was like, I kind of wanted to get like the dude's number or something, but my phone died, and so I wrote my number on the receipt like a weirdo, and was like, I'm a bartender and would like to like pick your brain, or maybe we could do some kind of collab, and left my number, and it's like, okay, I got to get out of here. And then I run into the owner guy outside. He's like out there vaping, and I had like an awkward little quick heart-to-heart with him. Just told him, how I quit my job and I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing, and told him I left my number, and I don't think he's going to call, but that's fine. But I was just, at some point, it would be cool to like, not even, because I'm not going to be drinking for a while with my diversion stuff, but just to, I don't know, go get coffee or something and pick his brain, and then that would be actual networking, just to figure out kind of all the numbers and how he started his place, because their establishment is running like pretty smooth. It seems like they're doing pretty good, and yeah, like I don't have a lot of money, but through investors, anything is possible. So it was good. And then that night I had the worst freaking stomach cramps and couldn't sleep, and I'm tossing and turning, and it's like, all right, time for me to get my shit together again. So I had a couple days of no booze, no caffeine, no nicotine. Pardon me. And then today I had some coffee, go meet with the lawyer, do all that adult stuff, and I was like, oh shit, it's Friday. I should hop on and do a podcast. And I haven't had any nicotine in a while, and the addictive brain. You're like, oh, you need some nicotine to get this brain going. So yeah, I had a pouch and some coffee, and now here we are. So trying to get my shit together, but man, you start staring at this microphone, stone cold sober, not even nicotine, and you go, what the fuck are you doing? And then in my head, I put on some music, and I was picturing like this movie like montage of me like putting together a microphone arm and putting it together and having it work all right, listening to Eve 6 music playing in the background and having my coffee and my nicotine, and I'm feeling good, and just nothing is working. It all just ends with me just holding the microphone again. And that's just how it's supposed to be right now, I think. And that's fine. So, podcast episode 6. I got my I got 7 listens on that one. No, I hung out with my buddy Chance, and he gave me my first like. He's like, yeah, I clicked it so I could be your first like. I was like, I appreciate that, buddy. So, here's to more of me rambling on this microphone, telling you about my stupid life and what a mess it is. And, what little talk there is about bartending on the Bartenders Anonymous podcast. But did have some good conversations this week, talking to some bar owners and figuring out what the hell. So, I don't know, at some point I probably will go get the judge willing, I might go get just some dive bar gig just so I have some life experience and get some cash in my pocket and, figure out something. Because it does get a little monotonous, me just like sitting around and going for walks. I did jog today. Intermittent jogging, of course. A little jog for a little while, and then heart starts beating. I'm like, let's walk. I'm going to be 32 tomorrow. I'll die at the park. But, whatever. So, yeah, here we are. And I'm just kind of plugging away at it. So I'll go in, sign more stuff on Monday, and then figure out what other hoops they want me to jump through. But yeah, talking about the blowy device that I might have to put in my car, that I probably will. And I was like, well, what if I just don't drive? And went through this whole thing of whether makes more sense to get the blowy device or to not get it. But if I don't get it, then it'd be a year, because I couldn't get my license back and like drive cars without the blowy device until my diversion is all the way completely over, which is technically 1 year. Whereas if I get the blowy device and I'm a good boy for 6 months, then I can get it taken out. So, because a year without a car, I knew I could go like 90 days pretty easy, but going a year without a car, I don't know how I'd feel about that. That sounds fucking terrible. I don't know. So I'll probably get the blowy device eventually, and 6 months in, being a good boy. But those things are a pain in the ass. She was telling me all the things that set it off, which included, mouthwash, obviously, kombucha kind of stuff. But then she was like, things high in sugar. Like, I was like, what the fuck? Sugar sets it off? And all this stuff. So they tell you to, rinse out your mouth and make sure you got nothing going on before you try and start your car. And it's just like, but I guess it's supposed to be a pain in the ass because it is a punishment. So makes sense that it's not all unicorns and rainbows. Let's see. That's kind of all I got laying around. I don't know what else I have to even talk about, but get that squared away. Things will be all right once I kind of get into a routine. That's been the worst part, is like the waiting around for the legal system. And I was waiting because I didn't know what the address was for the lawyer's office, and so I was like waiting for like a week, because I talked to the lawyer a week ago, and she's like, oh yeah, I'll email you all the stuff and the address and all that. And I was supposed to meet with her at 9:00 this morning, and literally had no emails, didn't know what the address was. And so I woke up at like 6 a.m. and messaged her because I was all stressed out about it. And luckily, she messaged me back right away and was like, "Oh yeah, I'll email you all the stuff right now." And then I'm reading all these freaking legal documents, and it's a lot. It's a bunch of shit. But then when the lawyer talks about it, she's like, "Yeah, it's really simple. I got a bunch of friends that have had to do this. It's almost like it's just something as an adult you gotta go through your first DUI. It's like an achievement that nobody wants." So, yeah, my fucking headphones are falling off. Coffee. As far as my birthday tomorrow, I'm going to go probably hang out with my father and do whatever he wants to do for my birthday, which sounds just awesome because I can't drive, and so it's like, well, who's going to be around me? And Dad's the one blowing up my phone, so I'm like, all right, here we go. What do you want to do? He's like, oh, we can go fishing. And I'm like, yeah, awesome. I love going fishing. No, I don't mind going fishing, but it wouldn't be my first draft pick of what to do with my birthday. Honestly, if I could just do whatever I wanted, I would probably go to like Topgolf or something, or go to, I don't even know, like a barcade or something, or... Which, speaking of barcades, I went into that one here in town that opened up when I was on my little walkabout, and I literally walked in there and fucking walked out. I was like, oh, this is a boring little arcade. I don't know what I was expecting, but they literally had there was like a little cashier table. There's maybe like 15 arcade machines in there, and 2 of them were out of order. And it was a cool little setup. There was like aliens and stuff, and it was kind of lime greeny, and it was a fun little place. But just the fact that it is a barcade, I was like, it's kind of whack, honestly. So my expectations were way too high of that place, and I do not want a job there. They don't even have they don't have a bar. There's not like a bar top. There was literally like the computer, the cashier, and then there's like this little spot that it looks like they go into where you can't even see their taps or whatever, and I don't even know. But I just walked out. I was like, yep, this isn't what I thought it was. So there's more of a barcade at this other tap house, and it's just pinball machines, and it's way more fun. But I don't know. You romanticize things and get them built up in your head, and then you finally go in there and you're like, this sucks. This isn't how I would do it if I had hundreds of thousands of dollars laying around. But, usually the people that have the hundreds of $1,000s, I don't know. I don't know because I'm not that person, but like there's another bar down the way that they totally remodeled, and they did all this stuff, put all this money into it, and it, like, the layout makes no sense. And like their pool tables like in the dining room, and you have to walk through the dining room to get to the bar. And I don't know. It just seems like a rich person that's like, I have this great idea. That's like, I don't know, maybe never been a bartender, or they just have these ideas and then they have money, and I don't know. Maybe that's just me and my perspective. And we all probably think that we can do something better than other people, but you don't know until you're actually in their shoes. So I should probably just shut the fuck up about it. But, maybe someday I'll get my shit together, find some place. I feel like buying a place doesn't really make sense, but leasing one could be down the road at some point. But for now, one step at a time, I should probably just get my DUI all taken care of, and my diversion, and being a good boy for 6 months, and that'll give me time to come up with another master plan. So, in the meantime, got my Friday Bartenders Anonymous podcast here for my 5 listeners. Love you guys. Hope you're all doing good out in all the whatever shenanigans you're getting into. staying positive. That's all we can do. And, if you have any master plans, by all means, message me and tell me all about them. Because I'm spending a lot of alone time with my driving privileges revoked and not being supposed to drink. I feel like I've drank quite a bit for not being supposed to drink. I mean, less than if I was allowed to, so I've cut back. But now the real marathon is about to start. So, however many months of whatever classes they tell me to go to and get it all done. So, until next time, my friends, I'm going to keep fighting the good fight. Still go for lots of walks. And, yeah. Need to go to the grocery store, get some more food. Because when you're home all the time, you just eat all the food. So, work in progress. The Unemployed Bartenders Anonymous podcast. Got our solid 20 minutes here. Someday we'll get a guest when it feels right. That's why I need to figure out these microphone arms. Or I'll just have a guest in here and they can just hold a microphone like I do and we'll just both talk into microphones and have our stupid conversation. So whatever. Whatever the fuck. Alright. Still figuring out how to end podcasts. Just seems like I want to just drawn on. Draw on. Alright. Whatever. Alright, there's my week. My audio log. Alright, we're gonna stop now. Just stop the podcast. Alright, have a good week. Have a good weekend. Have a good 4th of July. Have a good enjoy my birthday. Alright, see you next Friday or whatever. Okay, bye.